All right, Jimmie Johnson is now with us. He's our 5-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. And this weekend he's driving the number 48 Lowe's Dover White Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmie, coming back to Kentucky for the second time in the Sprint Cup Series. Maybe talk about this racetrack, the characteristic of it. It's a little different, the bumps out there. Talk about that maybe a little bit.
Yeah, and I got a lot of laps around this racetrack. When I came into the Cup Series, we were able to test here, and I have, like I said, a lot of laps just trying to understand what a Cup car was like, and working on new things with the race team because we had a year to prepare before I started at the Cup level with the 48 teams. So through all of that, I really didn't enjoy this racetrack. Crashed a lot down in turns 3 and 4. And last year coming into this race, I didn't have the warmest of opinions coming in. But after the test day and we got into the race weekend and really started racing with people and driving with people, I was really surprised with how racy the track was and how much fun I had. The bumps are frequent and everywhere. It doesn't matter which lane you're in. They're all around the racetrack. And that challenge, I think, puts on for better racing, puts multiple lanes, makes multiple lanes available for the drivers out there. And a little bit, I saw the truck race last night. We can get up to about the middle of the racetrack, and then there's something different from there out to the wall with the surface itself, and we can't get up there and put rubber down. But up until that point, we're using a good 3 lanes, maybe 4 in some areas. So it should put on a great race, and I finished really well here last year, and we're competitive through qualifying race, and look forward to coming back.
Questions now for Jimmie. We'll start over here with Tom, and then we'll go from there. Go ahead, Tom.
Hi, Jimmie. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. This first mile-and-a-half track with the sway bar and skirt changes, are you concerned that maybe a competitive advantage that Hendrick had was taken away through the rules changes? And how do you think the weekend's going to go as a result?
No, I don't see any changes. That's going to be the same for Hendrick as it is for everybody else. The skirt changes will be a significant lack or reduction in, I should say, in downforce to the cars. So we're looking forward to it. I think the more we do to make the cars difficult to drive, the more it comes my way, and I think the better it is for Hendrick Motorsports in general. So I think it's going to be a good race, and we'll be, hopefully right where we've been the whole time.
Let's go with Shannon. We'll go to Mark, and then up here to Rusty. Go ahead, Shannon.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. Last week, Tony Eury Jr. said, or recently Tony Eury Jr. said that he felt some of the drivers on the Nationwide Series were putting Danica Patrick in difficult situations because she was a woman. Why do you think he would make that statement based on what you've seen from her on the track? And is it a case of a woman or a rookie? And what kind of advice do you have for someone who is in their first season?
Yeah, I didn't see that comment or know the instance he's talking about, but I can say when you are a rookie, and I was clearly there a couple different times, different divisions, you have to take 3 or 4 lumps before you pass one out. That was my philosophy. There are other drivers that have taken a different approach, and I don't think it went as smoothly. But rookies get used up. It doesn't matter if it's our sport, baseball, football. It doesn't matter. It's just how it is, and it gets better in time, and that stuff goes away. But what's unfortunate is when you're being used up, you then start looking at everything that goes on and just you think that it's people taking advantage of you. And this is racing. Sometimes there's just contact. Other times you're getting used up and you file that away. And again, you take a couple as a rookie, and then once you're established and you have a chance to thank people for the respect they showed you previously, you send that message back to them.
Let's go to Mark, and then we'll come up here to Rusty. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, hi, Jimmie. I'm Mark Story from the Lexington Herald-Leader. Two-part question. You were part of a pretty exciting finish here last year at the end, but with the traffic situation, did you feel like it was overshadowed, the finish and kind of the actual race? And B, just your impressions of the changes in the track since last year, the infrastructure, that kind of thing.
It's hard for me to say that diminish the finish and the great racing that we put on here. Clearly, I was in the racetrack in my motorhome and didn't have to face the problems a lot of people did, and unfortunate to hear that everybody that bought a ticket wasn't able to get here and people were turned away. I mean, you never want that to happen, but it did, and I think we've got a chance to make it right, or not we. Whoever's in charge of where the issue was has a chance to get it right this weekend, and I hope that that's the case. From stuff that I've read, Bruton has worked on the areas here at the track that were his responsibility, and then we'll see what happens from the state city side with the roadways. I just drove in, so I haven't seen any of the improvements yet, had a chance to experience any of them. The road looks very similar to me from coming off of 71 into the track, so I don't know what's changed, but I really hope that it has, because there's a huge market here with a lot of race fans, and we can't give them 2 black guys. We already gave them 1.
Let's go to Shellman here, and then we'll go over here to Lee, and then Patrick.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm Zach Kiefer with the Indianapolis Star, and not to jump too far ahead, but the Brickyard's about a month away, and that's somewhere you've had a lot of success. I'm curious, at what point do you start focusing on that one? And then secondly, the general consensus is the Brickyard would be the #2 race on your circuit behind the Daytona 500. Would you agree? Is that slipped at all, or is it still the big one for you this time of year?
It's depending on who you speak to, it changes. For me, it's kind of a draw between the two. I grew up in an IndyCar household and didn't know much about stock car racing, and always dreamt of racing in the Indy 500. So, I kind of lean that way for that reason, but I am a stock car guy, and our sport was founded on the beaches of Daytona, so then I kind of head back to center and balances out. But from a driver's standpoint, a driver is a lot more responsible for the results and the performance at Indy than you are at Daytona. When you're in the draft in restrictor plate racing, sure, you're driving it, sure, you're responsible for the decisions you make, but you need a draft, you need a push, circumstances have to work around you to have you surge to the front at the right point in time. So there's a little bit more, I don't want to use luck, because there's a lot of skill required to win the Daytona 500, but it's just a different type of racing, plate racing versus normal racing. So I'm kind of neutral on the two. I think they're, depending on who you talk to, it goes either way. From the focus standpoint, the drivers, at least from my standpoint, I know which race is coming up, and I prepare each week for that event. The teams, on the other hand, work real hard, and they have been for a while, making sure the car is as efficient as possible from an aero standpoint, working through our setups and tire data, just trying to make sure that everything's right. Normal stuff that we do, but we do put a little bit more effort into the Brickyard. They start earlier. Instead of a couple weeks out, it's a month, 2 months out, just massaging the car. The engine shop usually shows up with a little bit something new for us, something special, a little bit more power typically, and it really pays off with having those long straightaways.
All right, we've got Lee, we've got Fred, and we'll end with Claire. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. How competitive is it from a marketing standpoint within certain categories? Because it appears that Home Depot was looking for a champion to go up against you and another champion. How competitive is all of that? And how will Matt Kenseth fare against the current champion, or the current 5-time champion?
Is that where he's going? That's the rumor. Okay, I haven't heard what's what. I kind of thought he was coming to Hendrick Motorsports, so add that to the mix. Yeah, right. We'll let that one simmer for a while. So much of it depends. We have 2 elements. One, the sponsor element, 2, the team. Everybody has expectations, but some sponsors in their involvement in the sport is solely focused on winning. Others, it's more about being out there, having a presence, maybe a hospitality component that they entertain folks at the track. Every sponsor is a little different. I know when I came to Lowe's in the time Bob Tillman was the CEO, winning was highest on his list. They'd been in the sport for a long time and hadn't had a victory, and absolutely they wanted victories. So it just depends. I would assume Depot, I know how competitive those 2 are in the workspace, and I have to assume they'd be very competitive on track. At the same time, Gibbs is a company very focused on winning as well. So, and it's vital for them to win, based on it's the only business the family's in. So, winning is a priority. Long story short, but a lot of it depends on different factors.
Well, let's go with Fred, and we'll end with Claire.
Hi, Jimmy. Fred Calgill with the CBS affiliate in Louisville, all the way back on your right. Weather, it's going to obviously have record-setting temperatures. How does that affect you as a driver, health-wise, physically? How demanding is it in the car versus normal circumstances? And how much does it affect your car and the way it acts on the track in terms of the tires, the heat? Do you burn through things more quickly?
Yeah, the heat just makes it harder on everything. You have less downforce because the air's thinner. You can't run as much tape on the nose of the car, so you lose some aero there. The engines are hotter. The tire grip window is far less because of the heat. The oils come out of the asphalt. There's just every element slows the car down and makes it more difficult the hotter it is, which is cool. I think a lot of guys with the dirt background enjoy that. So the track will be low in grip. Cars will be low in speed. Track is also rough, so it's going to add another physical element to us, where we're going to have to catch the car and really drive it and wheel it around here. And from a driver's standpoint, your training coming in, your hydration that you started before you got here, because as soon as we get in the cars today, we're going to be taxing our systems and on our bodies. And hydration is done days in advance, not day of. So if you're in the bar Monday, Tuesday, you're probably going to be regretting it towards the end of the weekend. So you got to be on your game, and this part of the season is a part I really look forward to, because I spend a lot of time on the training and nutrition and hydration. So hopefully things work out well for us tomorrow night.
Final question, Claire.
Actually, Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. His question was sort of a segue into what I was thinking. A lot of people asking drivers about the heat, but the drivers got blowers on them and professional people to help them hydrate. And I think about the team guys, and I watch Ron Malik, your car chief. I mean, he works like a dog underneath that car. Those guys and their focus and what it takes to be a championship team, so far beyond the driver. But what about the team guys and how easy it is to make a mistake, when it's this hot, and for them what this weather does?
Yeah, it's tough on them. I mean, the race car is going to come in and have a ton of radiant heat in it, and they all day long today got to work on it and make adjustments. Inside of a closed building that's just get hotter and hotter as the race cars pull in and out. So it's tough, and when you think about the amount of time the crew members have, their exposure time to the heat. Garage opens till when it closes, day after day. The duration they experience is pretty high. Inside the car, I'm not sure there's a hotter place to be than inside the race car, but it's for a 3 or 4 hour window where and you add up practice, qualifying, you're at 4.5 hours of in the car. That's half the day for what these guys are experiencing in the heat out here. So it's a very important part for them as well to hydrate and rest and do the things that they need so they don't literally fall over during the weekend.
If they don't focus, there's a mistake.
Yeah, focus is everything, and especially when you come to pit road and you're in the race itself. Focus, hand-eye coordination, quickness, all that goes away with dehydration. So if you get to the end of the night and you may not feel it physically, but the coordination is one of the first things to go, and it could lead to a slow pit stop.
Jimmy, thank you, and good luck this weekend.